Dr. Karthik and Dr. Vaishali have given wonderful lectures and they have put it into perspective. My task is to just summarize and very briefly, I won't take more than 5 to 6 minutes, to look at why common drugs like sulfonylurea and metformin still have an important role to play. So we've all heard about this story called A Christmas Carol, where there's a gentleman called Scrooge and in Christmas 3 ghosts visit him and his life changes for the better. So let's look at sulfonylurea and the 3 ghosts. Let's look at the ghost of the past, which is the skeletons in the closet. And this is not true for sulfonylurea, but for metformin and all the old drugs. People started saying that metformin caused lactic acidosis. In fact, it was banned in the 1970s in US. It came back after that. They also said that sulfonylureas cause beta cell exhaustion because they cause an excitotoxic reaction and stimulation of the beta cell and causes apoptosis. Well, they said sulfonylureas cause refractory prolonged hypoglycemic coma. Sorry, I said that. Nobody else said that. I published it in JAPI many years back that sulfonylureas cause hypoglycemia. Still, I know they cause hypoglycemia. So I've looked at the skeletons in the closet, which means we are worried about hypoglycemia, we are worried about weight gain, we are worried about lactic acidosis, we are worried about beta cell failure, we are worried about apoptosis. But what happened is, before Christmas, Christmas actually came early for sulfonylureas with not a Christmas carol, but with a Christmas Carolina. So if you see this study, the weight gain over time isn't much actually. Sorry to use this Pankaj Tripaঠি's picture, but if he were to ask 1.4 kgs in 4 years, no sir, in 256 weeks. So 1.5 kgs in 256 weeks is not really great weight gain, I gain that much weight in 2 weeks when I travel. It's not great weight gain. We don't have an epidemic of people getting hypoglycemia and eating and putting on weight. So no. Well, HbA1c over time, Dr. Karthik showed this slide, very elegant slide. They said sulfonylurea causes beta cell failure. But where's the beta cell failure? Where is it? There's nothing actually. You can see the HbA1c is durable and there for so many years with sulfonylurea. So if you were to take an example of this Hindi movie called Sholay, Gabbar Singh asks, वो 3, वो 5, वो 2 और तुम 5, फिर भी लौट आए खाली हाथ. You can take the same analogy to a DPP4 inhibitor and sulfonylurea. वो 50 रुपया का टैबलेट, वो 2 रुपया का टैबलेट, तुम्हारे पास 50 रुपया का टैबलेट, फिर भी वापस आए खाली हाथ. Not really खाली हाथ. There is a lot of hypoglycemia that we'll have to remember that it's not khali hath. Sulfonylureas produce a lot of hypoglycemia. That's to be expected, that's to be known. We understand that, we appreciate that. And also, so people just tell me, now people are all telling me in many meetings, SGLT2 should be the first line. Why should metformin be the first line anymore? SGLT2s cause cardiorenal protection. Why should metformin be the first line? The American Diabetes Association has actually kept metformin as a first line. Nobody's going to do a cardiovascular outcome trial with metformin. It's out of patent and it's an economical drug and no company will make money out of it. So nobody will do that. But let's remember that in the UKPDS, intensive glucose control with metformin appeared to decrease the risk of diabetes-related endpoints in overweight patients, less weight gain, less hypoglycemia, and metformin should be the first drug of choice even in today's era, despite all these new agents coming. So diet and exercise is the first drug treatment, followed by metformin, and then the field is open for DPP4, SGLT2, glimepiride, and so many other drugs. So glimepiride was associated with more hypoglycemia. Glimepiride was as CV neutral as linagliptin, but does hypoglycemia cause CVD? That also we don't know actually now. Hypoglycemia causes hypoglycememia. CVD causes CVD. Hypoglycemia doesn't cause CVD. Analyze and analyze and analyze and subclassify and subclassify and subclassify. You've not found the answer. So what's the answer? We don't know. So let's not talk about that. So we've looked at the skeletons in the closet. the so-called beta cell failure, weight gain with sulfonylureas, lactic acidosis with metformin, all that went away with the Christmas Carolina that came little early for SUs. And now let's look at what are the lessons for us in the future. So the lesson number one is we want to do the best for our patients, all of us. But we also like to be at the cutting edge of science. We like to take the best drug out there and use the latest drug. We have a tendency, I have a tendency, all of us have a tendency, let's try the new drug. Let's use it for our patients. But remember, sometimes when you have a new drug, that makes the old drug look worse than they are. So when a new drug comes, when metoprolol comes, it makes atenolol look a little less classy. Similarly, when azilsartan comes, it makes losartan look a little less classy. Remember that. As doctor, we must be wary of that. Second is, the punishment, not all crimes require the same punishment. Somebody steals a car, you have to punish. A hungry boy steals a piece of bread from a shop, you can't really punish. Both are crimes. But the punishment should actually fit the crime. So not all sulfonylureas have to be retired. Yes, some of the older players can be retired, like the older SUs like glibenclamide have little place in management of diabetes because it causes dangerous prolonged hypoglycemia. The newer sulfonylureas like gliclazide and glimepiride was studied in the Carolina study, can be used. Hypoglycemia is a concern, not cardiovascular disease. Hypoglycemia is a concern, not cardiovascular disease right now. So I want you to just ponder that there is no epidemic of hypoglycemia around us on sulfonylureas that need us to prescribe SGLT2 and DPP4. The main problem in Indian patients is excess carb intake and hyperglycemia. Hypoglycemia is not the big problem. All our patients' HbA1cs are high. And hypoglycemia is preventable. Yes, wherever possible, let's use a DPP4 inhibitor or an SGLT2 inhibitor because they have certain benefits. This is not to say that glimepiride should not be used now. It's a dangerous drug. It produces this, it produces that. And metformin has been, though it was temporarily banned in the US, it has been available for decades in India. So I think we should, the first part of my presentation, there are really no skeletons anymore in the sulfonylurea closet. All these myths have been busted, that they cause beta cell failure, that they cause weight gain, they are not durable, they cause apoptosis. All these have been busted, and one thing remains, they cause hypoglycemia. With the Carolina study, I think we know that old drugs are not bad at all, and metformin also can be used, and we need to overcome our biases about older medications which are cost effective and do the best for our patients. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.